June 25th, 2025 marks the 50th anniversary of the emergency, perhaps the darkest chapter of India's political history. Imposed by the then Prime Minister Indira Gandhi, the emergency was an extraordinary 21-month period from 1975 to 1977, which saw the suspension of civil liberties, curtailment of press freedom, mass arrests, cancellation of elections, and complete rule by decree. So this is the period from June 25th, 1975 to March 21st, 1977. The government of Indira Gandhi used special provisions of the Constitution to impose sweeping executive and legislative consequences on the country. Let's begin with why. Why did Indira Gandhi impose the emergency? What happened? Why was it finally repealed? So the 1971 general elections saw a landslide victory for Indira Gandhi and her party, the Indian National Congress. But it was followed by accusations of electoral malpractices. A few years later, in June 1975, the High Court of Allahabad ruled against Indira Gandhi in this electoral fraud case that was filed by political leader Raj Narayan, whom Indira Gandhi had defeated in the 1971 election. The court struck down Indira Gandhi's poll victory in Raebareli of Uttar Pradesh and required her to stay out of politics for 6 years. Indira Gandhi appealed the ruling to the Supreme Court but did not receive a satisfactory response. There were calls for her resignation. It became louder, more frequent. She was in trouble. So what happened next? Well, you had emergency being imposed because Indira Gandhi was scared she'd lose power. On June 25th, 1975, President Fakhruddin Ali Ahmed declared a state of emergency throughout the country on the Prime Minister's advice. Electricity was cut off to the Delhi neighborhood where most media houses were headquartered. No newspapers could be printed, and Indians received news of the emergency the next morning on the All India radio. It was the beginning of just months of severe censorship in all aspects of life.
भाइयों और बहनों, राष्ट्रपति जी ने आपातकाल की घोषणा की है। इससे आतंकित होने का कोई कारण नहीं है। आप सभी गहरे और व्यापक षड्यंत्र से अवगत होंगे। यह हमारा परम कर्तव्य है कि हम एकता और स्थायित्व की रक्षा करें। राष्ट्र की अखंडता के लिए कठोर कार्रवाई करना जरूरी है।
Fundamental rights guaranteed by the Constitution, the right to free speech, freedom of assembly, personal liberty, all of which we have right now, enjoy currently, all of that was curtailed. Even the judiciary's independence was compromised. It faced pressure to align with the government's directives. The most profound impact of the emergency was on India's democratic institutions. The suspension of fundamental rights led to widespread human rights abuses. Arbitrary arrests, detention without trial, it became the new normal then. Almost all opposition leaders, George Fernandez, J.P. Narayana, Atal Bihari Vajpayee, L.K. Advani, Morarji Desai, I can go on, all of them were put in jail. About 36,000 people were put in jail under the Maintenance of Internal Security Act, a controversial act that allowed for indefinite detention without any trial. Effectively, what it did is silence the opposition to government's policies and actions. Now, while the opposition was in jail, Parliament went ahead and passed acts and changes. The 38th Constitution Amendment Act that barred judicial review of the emergency was passed. The 39th Amendment Act that said the election of the Prime Minister could not be challenged in the Supreme Court, that was passed too. The 42nd Amendment Act made changes to a range of laws, taking away the judiciary's right to hear election petitions, widening the authority of the Union to encroach on state subjects, gave Parliament complete power to amend the Constitution with no judicial review possible. It also made any law passed by Parliament to implement any or all directive principles of state policy immune to judicial review. Essentially, any law that was made, nobody could do anything to challenge it, and the judiciary had zero power. Indira Gandhi's son, Sanjay Gandhi, ran a de facto government of his own, answering to nobody. His 5-point program included the infamous forced and ruthless family planning program. This program, devised by Sanjay Gandhi, didn't hold any official position in the government, saw 11 million Indians being sterilized, most of them facilitated by sheer institutional force under the garb of family planning. So just imagine the horror. The emergency ended as unexpectedly as it had begun. In January 1977, Indira Gandhi called for a new general election, released several imprisoned political figures. There was no apparent reason for her to have done so, but many historians suggest that intel reports had predicted an electoral victory for her. As it happened, the elections of 1977 led to a decisive, comprehensive defeat for Indira Gandhi. The Janata Party, formed by a merger of several opposition parties, emerged as a formidable force, and Morarji Desai became India's first non-Congress Prime Minister. The emergency left an indelible mark on India's political and social landscape. It serves as a stark reminder of the need for constant vigilance to safeguard civil liberties and fundamental rights. This period also highlighted the importance of a free and independent press, an impartial judiciary as well, with enough powers to question the government, and a robust system of checks and balances to prevent the abuse of power by the executive.
If you like the video, do like, comment, share and subscribe.